Hi, I'm Wendy, a librarian at the Patchogue-Medford Library, and today we're going to learn how to cross-stitch a small heart for Valentine's Day. First, I'm going to go through some of the materials that we need. Then I'm going to teach how to do the actual cross-stitching. This is the pattern that we're using. It's 2 tones. This is a finished product here, so it's going to come out looking like this. I think it's just a cute gift for yourself or for your special Valentine. So first you will need a needle. I am using tapestry needles because they are blunt tipped, which is good for the size of canvas we're using, and also because they have a fairly wide hole because we're going to be using all 6 strands of the floss that I'll get to. So we have a needle. Here is the canvas that we're using. It is 7 count. I have a bundle of red floss. I have a bundle of pink floss. I have scissors. And I have a pen because I like to cross out where I am on the pattern, and I'll show you that in a moment. So we will start with the red. So the best way to do this, to open up the floss here, is to slide off this sticker, and then open it up, find where it is wound so it makes a good circle. Just like this. This way it's not tangling, we don't have a mess on our hands. And then here's the end. I recommend starting with about the length of your arm. So if I stretch my arm out like this, I might have maybe 3 feet. And we're going to leave the pink for the time being. Okay, so I want to show how this is called embroidery floss. It's what I use for cross stitching. So this is 6 strands. It's 6 tiny little strands and they're spun together. We're going to be using all 6 strands. If we were using more close together fabric, we would use less strands, 1 strand or 3 strands, but we're just using 6, so that's fine. I'm going to thread my needle, so do that now. Okay, so we've threaded the needle. I'm going to do 2 over-unders to make sort of a square knot. Pull through, and then again. As we stitch, we're going to pull the loose end just to make sure it stays taut, because we wouldn't want it unraveling. All right, so that's that. And I'm going to show you as we do the stitching. First, we're going to do it so we go down. It's going to look like this. And then when we come up the same row, it's going to look like this. So just bear with me and you'll see what I mean. Okay. So we have our needle threaded. We have our piece of canvas, and I'm just going to pick, you can pick anywhere. That's not too far to the right because, again, this is about the size that we're going to end up with. So I'm going to put my needle in here. Okay, needle in. Pull it through, keeping your finger right about here. And then not allowing this last about 1 inch or so to go through. So for now, we're just going to hold it, but we're going to be able to let go in a couple of minutes. Okay. All right. So if you look at the pattern, we're going to move left to right. I'm going to stitch like this. And this first line we're going to do is 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then X, X, X. All right. So from where I've decided to put the needle in, I'm going to go down and to the left, still holding onto this back piece. Put the needle in just below. Down and to the left. The needle just below where it was. And then one more time down and to the left. So we have a line of 3 half cross stitches. So this row is halfway done. Next, I'm going to bring the needle up back through here, opposite to where I am. Pull it through. And at this point, you can let go of the back piece because it's secured by the way that the stitches went. All right, so this is how I look. Going to go to the top left now, pull through, And there's our first cross stitch. Gonna come up here. Pull through. Oop. If you have a knot and there's a loop, just pull the loop like that. Okay. Up to the left. Up. And to the left. So this is our first row of the red. It is all done. We have the 3 cross stitches so that we're done with that first row. So what I'm going to do is take my pen and I'm going to cross out what we did. There are 2 types of cross stitch. There's stamped where the pattern appears on the material. And then there's counted, which is what we're doing with the counting. It can be a little challenging to pick up, but I think it's a lot of fun once we have the basics down. Okay, so this is our first row. Now we know the row next to it is going to be 5. It's going to be 1 square taller than the row before and 1 square lower than the one before. So I'm going to bring my needle up through here. So that's 1 square taller. This one will be 5 rather than 3. I'll pull through. And this is just like the half of the first row that we did. Down and to the left. One below. Down and to the left. One below. Until you have 5 half marks. Okay, so this makes 4. And that makes 5. So this next row of 5 is halfway done. I'm just going to come up through here, just as we did before, and complete the 5 crosses. Just going to go up from where you started and then up to the left. Up to the left until those 5 half marks are full. Okay, that's that second row. It's really just getting down the half and then going back up to the whole. And then after that, it's just going to be the same until we're complete with the number of rows that we have here. So we finished the second row. We did the 3 and then we just did 5. I'm going to do one more row and then I'm going to show how you would wrap it up if you were done. All right, so we know that this third row is going to be 1 square higher than the one before and 1 square lower than the one before. So it's just going to be the same as it was, moving from 3 to 5. I'm going to come through here. Down and to the left. And then we're going to do 7 half crosses. Oops. If you have a knot, just pull on. This is a common problem. You'll get a knot that looks like this, sort of like a bunny ear. What you do in this case is stick the needle through there and just pull it. It'll come loose. It's just from the thread raveling together. I find that sort of knot happens if I'm going faster. So I will slow down a bit. Down to the left. That makes 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so this third row of 7 is halfway done. So I'm going to come through here and go up and to the left 7 times to complete the row. Up to the left. Move up again. This makes 3 completed. Four. Six. And 7. All right, so we finished our third row. Which was 7. So I'm going to show how to seal up your thread if we needed to change colors, or we wanted to take a break, or we ran out and need to start with the same color. So we're done with that. The next row will start at the same point, but go one more down. All right, so I'm going to cut my string to pretend that I ran out. So let's say I stitched this much and I'm out of string. You may have already hit this point. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to leave about 1 inch. And this doesn't matter if you're at the top of the row or the middle of the row. You'll just cut it, leave about 1 inch. Pretend I'm rethreading, even though, you know. Okay, so then you're just going to pick up wherever you left off. And in our case, we're doing another row. And same as when we started, I'm gonna hold it for about 1 inch. I'm going to hold the 2 pieces together, like so. All right, so I know that this is going to be here, 1 more, so it will also make 8. All right, so I'm going to come through, going to go 1 half stitch, 2 half stitch, except this time you can catch that second little scrap in the back. I'll show in a moment. 3 half stitch, 4, and I'm still holding those 2 stray pieces together. And in the back, they're bound. They won't come undone, just like we did when we started. And I'll just keep catching that little tail as I move down. To make 7 half marks. And then the 8th one. We know from the pattern that the 4th line is going to be 8. Okay, so that's the basis. I start from the left side, and then I do these half lines, and then I come back through, and I do these other lines. So I'm going to finish this line here, and then up and to the left to complete this 4th row. Up and to the left. To complete that 4th row. All right, we are done with 4 rows of this. What I'm going to show now is how to seal up. So if we are done, rather than just cutting the string and leaving the string dangling, what I'm going to do, once you get to the end of this pattern, you can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the needle and the string through the first 3 or 4 loops here. And at that point, I can cut it, and I can feel confident that it's not going to become loose. Okay, so that's the first 4 rows. I would pick up here, and I would move across this way. So the same thing with the pink. We're going to take off this wrapper and this wrapper, and I'm going to open it to see where it splits. Keep it on my hand like this. Gonna find one of the ends. And I'm gonna pull about the length of my arm. I'm going to thread my needle. And in the same way, I'm gonna do 2 over-unders. Making sure that as I stitch, I check on this end and make sure it's still taut. Okay. So we've completed the first 4 rows here, and we're going to start with the pink here, still moving left to right. Looking at the pattern, we see that the first pink line has 5. So I'm going to start 1 higher than the 3 and 1 lower than the 3 is where I'm going to end. Okay? Going to come through here because this is 1 higher than that row of 3. Pull through and hold on to about the last 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to do 5 right to left of the half cross stitches. Down to the left. Come through. Down to the left. Come through. 3. 4. 5. Then in the same manner, I'm going to come through and I'm going to complete those 5. 1 up to the left. Up to the left. And 5. And that's how we're going to go with the pink. So that's the first row. Draw a line through that. The second row will be 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And in the same way, you're going to move left to right, just as we did with the red. And then once you're to here, once you finish this row, you're going to go left to right down here. So starting anew down here once you finish the top. Those are the materials. This is the finished product. Enjoy.